Have you ever wondered what really happens when you stop letting a narcissist control your story? Most people think the chaos ends when you walk away, but that's actually where the real story begins. Because the moment you take your power back, their illusion begins to fall apart. Most people believe that once you finally break away from a narcissist, that's the end of the story. But that's not true. That's actually where the real story begins. Because when a narcissist understands they can't control you anymore, they don't just walk away quietly. No, they start to fall apart. Their mask begins to slip, and what comes out after that is both unsettling and revealing. In this talk, we're going to go through the 4 clear signs that prove you've truly defeated the narcissist. Not just escaped their control, but broken the illusion they live in. By the end of this video, you'll see not only what those signs are, but also why they happen and what they expose about the fragile mind behind the narcissist's mask. When you finally stand up to someone who has been manipulating you, when you stop playing along with their games, something very interesting happens. The narcissist's charm, that fake polished friendliness, begins to fade away. And what takes its place isn't calm acceptance or quiet respect. It's anger, silent anger. It's the fury of a person who has lost control but can't afford to show it openly. And that right there is one of the clearest signs that you've actually won. See, people often misunderstand a narcissist's charm. They think it's real confidence. They mistake it for charisma, strength, or dominance. But it's not. It's all an act. A carefully created performance meant to draw you in, to make you admire them, depend on them, and need them. Their charm is their weapon. It's not about love or connection. It's about control. And the moment you stop reacting to it, when you stop being hypnotized by their compliments or intimidated by their presence, their whole psychological structure starts to crack. Now, that doesn't mean they'll suddenly start yelling or breaking things. No, the truly dangerous kind of rage doesn't always make noise. It hides behind their eyes. You can see it when you speak to them. The tight smile, the twitch at the corner of the mouth, the flat tone when they realize you're no longer playing their game. It's like you turned on the light in a room they've kept dark for years, and now they're exposed. They can't charm you. They can't guilt trip you. They can't make you feel small anymore, and that's unbearable to them. Let me tell you something. That silent rage isn't really about you. It's about what you represent. You've become the one thing they can't control, and that threatens the entire illusion they've built to protect themselves from the truth. Narcissists live in a fragile, self-created world. It's like a house of mirrors. Everything reflects what they want to see: power, admiration, superiority. But when you step out of that illusion and say, "No, I see who you really are," it's like breaking one of those mirrors. The whole structure starts to shake. That's when they change. The voice that once sounded confident turns short and tense. The person who used to laugh at your jokes now looks at you like you've offended them. Their silence grows heavy. You can even feel it, a kind of cold wall building between you. They won't admit they're angry because admitting it would mean admitting defeat, but their energy tells the truth. That's the silent rage. It's like a storm trapped behind glass. I once talked with a young woman who told me about leaving a long relationship with a deeply narcissistic partner. She said that when she finally stood her ground, refused to argue, and walked away in the middle of a conversation, he didn't yell or chase her. He just stared at her with this empty, hollow look and went completely silent. She said, "It was the quietest moment of my life, but it was also the loudest thing I'd ever felt." That's the moment the narcissist realizes they've lost. Not because you shouted louder or played their game better, but because you stopped playing completely. And here's the thing, that silence isn't only anger, it's shame. Underneath all that rage lies a deep sense of inadequacy. You've shown them a reflection they can't stand to see, one that says, "You're not in control. You're not as powerful as you think." And for someone whose entire identity depends on control and admiration, that truth is unbearable. But here's where your real power begins. When you can recognize that shift, when you can see their charm turn into quiet hostility and not take it personally, you're finally free from their manipulation. You've taken back something essential, your independence, your self-respect, your peace of mind. And make no mistake, that's what the narcissist fears most. So when you see that silent rage, when their eyes turn cold, when their charm disappears, and the space between you feels heavy, don't panic. Don't doubt yourself. Understand it for what it truly is: confirmation. It means you've broken their spell. You've stepped out of the illusion. You've stopped feeding the monster that lived off your confusion. That's not easy. It takes real courage to stop looking for approval from someone who has built their entire existence around keeping it from you. It takes strength to stay calm when their silence tries to make you feel guilty. But if you can hold your ground, if you can stay peaceful in the face of their quiet rage, you win. Not by fighting them, but by refusing to take part in the fight at all. That's the true victory. The narcissist's charm turns into silent anger because, for the first time, they've met someone they can't fool. And if that someone is you, if you've reached that point, then you've done something most people never do. You've reclaimed your sense of self from someone who tried to rewrite it. That's the moment you stop just surviving them. You start rising above them. It's a strange thing when you begin to rise above a narcissist. When you stop reacting to their games and start living with real strength, they don't disappear, they change shape. And not in some "I've learned my lesson" kind of way. No, they start copying you. They begin to mimic your strength, your confidence, your independence, but only on the surface because they can't create it from within. They can only imitate it. You have to understand what's really happening here. Narcissists aren't original people. They don't build themselves. They borrow themselves. They piece together their identity from what they take from others: admiration, attention, energy, validation. It's like they're always scavenging for bits of identity, piecing together a personality made entirely of reflections. So, when you defeat them, when you stop feeding them, when you set boundaries and grow confident, they panic. But instead of facing that emptiness, they try to become you. They copy your tone, your ideas, your behaviors, as if wearing your skin will give them your strength. It's a strange thing to watch. Suddenly, the person who once mocked your goals starts talking like they've found purpose. The one who used to laugh at your dreams begins posting motivational quotes using your style, your words, your values. It's unsettling because what they're doing isn't admiration, it's imitation. They're trying to regain control by becoming the very thing that destroyed their illusion. Why do they do that? Because for them, copying is survival. The narcissist doesn't know who they are without someone to feed off. Their identity is parasitic. It's not real strength, just a reflection of it. And when you've defeated them, when you've pulled away and built confidence, you've revealed that emptiness at their core. So they do what empty things do, they echo. But don't mistake their imitation for growth. It's not transformation, it's disguise. They're trying to hide the shame of defeat by pretending they've changed. It's like a wolf putting on a shepherd's coat and pretending to care for the flock. The outside changes, but the inside stays the same. And if you're not careful, that act can pull you back in. You might think, maybe they've changed. Maybe they finally understand. But what's really happening is darker. They're studying you. They're learning how your strength works so they can use it against you. I've seen this over and over in therapy sessions, in families, among friends. When one person truly starts to grow, the people who depended on their weakness begin to imitate that growth, not to share in it, but to compete with it. A young man starts taking responsibility, and suddenly his insecure friends begin copying his words. Not because they want to grow, but because they feel threatened. It's the same with narcissists. They don't want to grow with you. They want to look stronger than you. And that tells you something important. Imitation is their last defense. It's their desperate way of keeping the illusion of superiority alive. But they can't keep it up, because real strength doesn't come from copying others. It comes from pain, from honesty, from taking responsibility for your own life. The narcissist avoids all that. They can copy your confidence, but they can't match your discipline. They can repeat your words, but they can't live your truth. So, eventually the mask falls again. It always does. Picture someone trying to hold a mask to their face with both hands. They can do it for a while, but they can't eat, can't breathe, can't live freely. Sooner or later they get tired, and the mask slips. That's what happens when a narcissist imitates your strength. They wear your identity like a disguise until reality demands authenticity, and then they crumble because they never built the foundation to support what they pretend to be. When you see this happen, when they start echoing your words, dressing like you, copying your gestures, acting like they've suddenly found themselves, don't get angry, don't get confused, recognize it for what it is, proof of your victory. You've become the standard they measure themselves against. You're the model they can't outshine. That's real power. Not loud, not forceful, just solid and undeniable. And if you want to stay free, keep moving forward, because the moment you stop, they'll try to catch up and mirror you again. Keep growing, keep building yourself, keep becoming more of who you truly are. Don't let their imitation pull you back into seeking validation. The best way to defeat a narcissist twice is to grow beyond the version of yourself they're still trying to copy. So, when you notice them mimicking your strength, smile quietly to yourself. Because what they're really saying, without ever admitting it, is that you've become everything they pretended to be. You've become real. You've become whole. And they can only stand in your shadow, trying desperately to recreate your light. One of the most revealing moments in a narcissist's downfall comes when their mask starts to slip in public. It's both fascinating and sad because it exposes what's been hidden all along. A desperate, fragile, frightened self hiding behind the illusion of superiority. For years, maybe even decades, they've perfected that mask. The charm, the confidence, the timing, the control over every social situation. It's all part of the act. But when you defeat them, when you uncover their manipulation and refuse to play along, that mask doesn't just crack in private. It slips in front of everyone. And that's when the entire illusion begins to fall apart. You have to understand what that means for someone like that. A narcissist lives for perception. Their whole identity isn't built on who they are, but on how they appear. They don't chase truth, they chase image. And for years, that image works. They manage to fool people with their charm, their fake humility, their confident front. But the moment you pull away, the moment you stop validating that illusion, they start losing control over the story they've been telling the world. And when control fades, so does the mask. I've seen it many times. Maybe it's a boss who always seemed calm, articulate, and in control. Then one day, an employee refuses to be manipulated, stops accepting unfair treatment, and stands up for themselves. And suddenly, in a meeting, that boss snaps. Just for a moment, but it's enough. The calm tone disappears. The voice sharpens. The eyes turn cold. The room falls silent. Everyone feels it. The mask has slipped. And once people see that crack, they can't unsee it. The image of the perfect leader starts to crumble right before their eyes. It's the same in personal relationships. The narcissist, who's always charming with friends, always the life of the party, begins to lose control when the person they once dominated starts speaking the truth. They'll overreact to something small, a comment, a glance, a simple question, and for a split second, the ugliness beneath the act comes through. Their voice changes, their posture stiffens, and you see that raw hostility that was always there, hidden under layers of performance. And people notice. That's the moment the image collapses. See, truth has a way of breaking falsehood open. It's like sunlight cutting through thin ice. No matter how polished the mask is, it can't survive exposure to reality. When you refuse to play along with the narcissist's version of the story, you become that sunlight. You reveal the gap between who they pretend to be and who they really are. And that exposure is unbearable for them because what they fear more than losing you is losing their audience. Think of it this way. The narcissist's mask is like a stage costume. It only works when the lights are dim and the audience is far away. But when the lights come on, when people get close enough to see the seams, the fabric, the makeup beneath, the illusion disappears. And when that happens in real life, when coworkers, friends, or family begin to see through them, the narcissist starts to fall apart. They'll lash out, act like the victim, or try to repair the mask with desperate excuses. You misunderstood me. You're twisting my words. I was only joking. But the damage is done. People have seen the truth. And once truth is seen, it can't be unseen. Now, this isn't just about exposing them. it's also about you. Because your refusal to feed their illusion is what causes the exposure. You're the one who breaks the spell. You might not say much. You might simply stay calm, speak the truth, hold your ground. But that calmness, that authenticity, acts like a mirror. It reflects reality back to the narcissist and to everyone else watching. And in that reflection, their mask begins to melt away. Here's something you need to understand deeply. When the narcissist's mask slips, it's not just their downfall, it's your transformation. Because it means you're no longer part of their performance. You're standing in truth now. You're no longer hypnotized by the illusion. You see the real person behind the act. And once you see that clearly, you change forever. Of course, they'll hate it. They'll feel exposed, humiliated, vulnerable. They might even try to rebuild the mask to regain control of the story, but something irreversible has already happened. Once people see who they truly are, the power of deception fades. It's like a magician trying to do a trick after you already know how it works. The illusion loses its magic. So when you see that moment, when their mask slips in public, don't be afraid of it. Don't rush to cover for them out of guilt or misplaced empathy. Let it fall. Because that moment is truth revealing itself. It's reality correcting the lie. And though it may feel uncomfortable, it's necessary. It's the collapse of falsehood and the birth of freedom. Maybe that's the real victory after all. You don't defeat a narcissist by winning some endless psychological war. You defeat them by standing in truth long enough for their illusion to crumble under its own weight. And when it does, you realize something powerful. They never had the power. It was always borrowed from your belief, your attention, your participation. Once you take those things back, the illusion falls apart, and what remains is truth. Raw, uncomfortable, but real. And that's where real strength begins. When a narcissist finally realizes they've been defeated, when they can no longer manipulate, no longer twist the story, no longer control reality to fit their ego, they do something remarkable. They rewrite the story. They turn themselves into the victim, and not just any victim, the tragic, misunderstood, selfless one who gave everything and was betrayed. It's shocking how quickly they switch roles. Yesterday, they were the conqueror. Today, they're the wounded soul. And that transformation isn't humility, it's strategy. It's the final defense of a collapsing ego. You see, narcissists can't handle accountability. To take responsibility would mean facing the one thing they've spent their lives avoiding, their own shame. It would mean admitting they were wrong, that their illusion of superiority was false. That's unbearable to them. So instead, they rewrite the story to protect themselves. They cast you, the one who broke free, the one who stood for truth, as the villain. You become the ungrateful one, the abuser, the betrayer. And once again, they become the hero in their story. You might hear them say things like, "After everything I did for you," or "You've changed, you're not who you used to be." And you have to understand what that really means. It doesn't mean you've become cold or cruel. It means you've stopped submitting. It means you've grown, set boundaries, and stopped feeding their need for control. To them, that feels like betrayal, because their version of love is ownership, and their version of connection is obedience. When that ends, they twist the narrative to look righteous again. I've seen this happen in families, workplaces, marriages. Someone finally decides to break the cycle and stop being manipulated, and suddenly the narcissist starts telling a whole new story. "I don't know what happened, they just turned against me," or "They're ungrateful after everything I've done." They start painting themselves as the noble sufferer, the one who loved too much, gave too much, cared too much. And it's a convincing act, at least for a while, because most people don't see through it. They see the tears, the trembling voice, the self-pity, and they believe it. But here's the truth. What you're seeing isn't sincerity. It's self-preservation. It's the narcissist trying to glue back together the shattered mirror of their self-image. They can't look into a reflection that shows their failure, so they change the reflection. They paint themselves as the victim so they don't have to face the truth that they've been defeated. Not by cruelty, but by honesty. And that's why their story sounds so believable. Because they need to believe it. It's the only way they can live with themselves. Think of it like this. The narcissist's identity is like a book they've been writing their whole life. In that book, they're always the hero. Brilliant, misunderstood, chosen, powerful. Then you come along and refuse to play your part. You won't be the admirer, the rescuer, or the scapegoat anymore. You close the book and walk away, and they panic because without your participation, the story falls apart. So what do? They rewrite it. They twist the same events, change the dialogue, and publish a new version, one where you're the villain and they're the wounded hero. And here's the hardest part. They'll tell that story to everyone. Friends, coworkers, family, anyone who will listen. They'll tell it so convincingly that even you might start doubting yourself. You'll think, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I overreacted. But you didn't. You were just refusing to carry a burden that was never yours. Remember that, especially when they use pity to regain power. When they play the victim, they're not looking for healing. They're looking for allies. They want people to feel sorry for them, not to grow. Because pity gives them something close to what they lost. Attention, validation, emotional control. It feeds them. It keeps their illusion alive. So when they rewrite the story, don't waste your time trying to fix their version. You can't argue someone out of a lie they need to survive. Instead, live your truth. Let time reveal the difference, because truth lasts and lies don't. Eventually, the holes in their story will show. People will notice. The act will wear thin. And while they're busy defending their fiction, you'll be busy building a real life, one based on truth, not performance. So, when the narcissist rewrites the story to make themselves the victim, don't fight to be understood by them. You can't be. Their story isn't about truth, it's about survival. Let them have their illusion. Because your freedom doesn't depend on them admitting anything, it depends on you living your truth. And if you stay true to that, something amazing happens. Their rewritten story starts to fall apart under the weight of your reality. That's when you realize you've truly defeated them. Not when they confess they were wrong, they never will, but when their version of the story stops mattering, when you no longer need to explain yourself, when you stop caring what they say, when you look at their self-made tragedy and feel nothing but distance. That's freedom. That's peace. That's when you stop being a character in their story and become the author of your own. So ask yourself, what story are you still living in? Are you still trapped inside someone else's version of events, trying to prove your innocence in a play that was never real? Or have you finally stepped off their stage and started writing your own script, one built on truth, not manipulation? Because that's where your freedom begins. When you stop defending yourself against lies and start living a life that makes those lies irrelevant. Defeating a narcissist isn't about revenge or humiliation. It's about rising above. It's about becoming so grounded in truth and reality that their illusions can no longer reach you. You stop being their mirror. You stop being their source of energy. And the world begins to shift quietly, steadily, powerfully around that truth. So think about this. Who are you without their story, without their approval, without their control, without their false praise? Because until you know that, you're still carrying them inside you. Maybe it's finally time to let that go. If this message touched something deep in you, if you've lived through the rewriting of truth and found your way back to yourself, share your story in the comments. Speak your truth. Every person who dares to do that gives someone else permission to do the same. And if you want to keep walking this path, to understand human nature, power, and truth even more deeply, subscribe. Join this community. There's more to learn, more to uncover, and more of yourself to discover. In the end, defeating a narcissist isn't about destroying anyone or seeking revenge. It's about reclaiming yourself. It's about choosing truth over illusion, peace over chaos, and self-respect over control. When you stop reacting, stop explaining, and stop trying to prove your worth to someone who only values power, you begin to live freely. The real victory is quiet. It's when their version of the story no longer affects you, when their opinion loses weight, and when you finally see that the strength they tried to take from you was yours all along. That's the moment you rise above them, not through anger, but through clarity. Because the greatest way to win against manipulation is to live a life that no longer depends on it.